Hello lovely people, and welcome to this week's video, and welcome to my new beautiful recording suite. I'm so pleased to be able to introduce you to the Good Shed Studio. So before we get going, I just want to encourage you to support me by subscribing to my channel, giving me a thumbs up or even a comment. And if you'd really like to support me, you could always make a little donation by contacting me via the email that is at the beginning and the end of the video. So this week we are going to be working further with Cultivating Prana, working with the Mula Bandha and working with postures to really help us to cultivate prana within the body. So let's begin by coming into a comfortable seat, closing the eyes or lowering the gaze and tuning into the breath, moving gently in and out through the nose. So I'm going to encourage you to begin to engage the Mula Bandha, the muscles of the pelvic floor, on the exhale. So we're just still breathing naturally in and out, but on the exhale, really squeezing the muscles that stop you going to the toilet. And then when you inhale, just letting them go. So working with that just for another few moments. Lovely, and now we're just going to begin to work with some simple hand movement. So we're going to start with the palms open into really open fingers, and then we're going to close them, making fists, opening and closing, really reaching the fingers wide, and then making as tight fists as you can a few more times. Lovely. And then we're going to keep them in fists and take them as far out in front of you as you can. And I'm going to invite you to start making circles with the wrists, but what you're trying to do is to keep the tops of the hands facing towards the ceiling. It's harder than it looks. So going round one way first, and then we'll stop and go back round the other way. You'll probably hear your wrists clicking. It's all good. Lovely. Then we'll just bring the hands back down onto the body for a moment. Feel the effects of that practice, and then we're going to bring the arms up above the head. Just take the hands as close together as you can. It may be that you can't and that your arms are there. That's fine. If you can join hands, then that's great. And then we're going to come down and we're going to take a twist. So opposite hand to knee, taking the other hand either in a bind behind you like this or down onto the floor if you can reach. And we're going to inhale, just slightly coming out of the twist, and then exhale, twisting a little bit further. One more breath here. Lovely. Then we're going to inhale back to where we were with the arms up above the head and going round the other way. Inhaling, raising up here. Exhaling into the twist. Couple more breaths here. And then we're going to come back through centre again. And I'm going to invite you now to take your hands out behind you. I'm raised up here, so I can't reach my hands onto the floor. If you're sitting down on the floor, you can probably bring your hands onto the floor. But we're going to take the hands out behind us and push the chest forward, looking up slightly. So we're really opening the chest here, breathing in and out through the nose. And then from here, we're going to bring the arms forward, and we're just going to make two great big circles, going forwards with the arms, opening the shoulders and the chest, And then going back the other way, 2 big circles. Going back the other way. Beautiful. Then from here, I'm going to invite you to take one arm out as wide and far behind you as you can, keeping your chest facing forwards as much as you can. And then we're going to bring that arm forwards and we're going to take it all the way over, but we're not going to twist our body around. So taking it over as far as you can, and then bring the other hand just above the elbow and see if you can just help that over a little bit. And it's really opening for the back of the shoulder here. Couple of breaths there. And then we'll do it on the other side. So other arm, keeping the chest facing forwards, but taking the other arm out as far behind you as you can. And then bringing that arm all the way over and giving it a hand with the other arm. Feeling how that really opens the back of that shoulder beautifully. And then coming back to the resting pose and feeling the effects of your practice. So I'm going to invite you now to come into a seated position, either with the feet out in front of you or into a cross-legged position. And we're going to bring the arms up, again opening the heart, maybe taking a look up, a little bit of a back bend, and then we're going to bring the hands down in front of us. So if you're sitting with your feet out in front, you'll probably just be like this, and that's fine, just doing what's right for you. So we're not trying to bend right forward, we're just being here for a moment. I've actually got quite a straight back. And then we're just going to slowly, incrementally, just walk the hands forward. Let the weight of the head drop down. And then from here, we're going to take the hands and walk them round to the side. So I'm trying to drop my head down. This is opening the side body up, letting the head drop down, making sure the opposite hip stays rooted on the ground. And then we'll walk back through to the other way, depending upon which way that your legs are crossed. It will feel very different on one side to the other. So coming back to the centre, and we're going to swap the cross of the legs. So just take the legs, the cross the other way. I can't bring this leg back because I've got a bit of a dodgy knee. So I'm doing it with a very open position here. Same thing, bring yourself forward. And this time we'll go to the other way first. Taking a moment here, feeling how that opens the side back of the body. And then moving back through, going the other way. And coming back to the centre. So I'm going to invite you now to come and find your all fours position, and I would really suggest having either a blanket or a sheepskin like I've got, something under your knees to protect them. Lovely, so I like to have our hands slightly in front of the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and we're going to begin by just taking the spine down towards the floor, looking forwards on the inhale, and then as we exhale, taking the spine to the ceiling, looking between the knees. So working with your breath and trying to match breath to movement. Beautiful. So do a few more if you feel you need to, but we're going to come back to a natural neutral position here. And now I'm going to invite you to, on the inhale, doing the same movement, but what we're going to do is we're going to lift one knee, still bent, lift it right up, looking forward. So when we're doing the inhale, we're taking the flexed foot up and we're going to rotate that ankle round once or twice. And then on the exhale, we're going to do nose to knee. So we'll do that again, taking the flexed foot up to the ceiling and exhale, nose to knee. And coming back to the neutral position. So I've got my hat back on. We'll do it on the other side. So inhaling, flexed foot, lifting that knee up as high as you can, and then exhale, nose to knee. Inhale, really sending that foot up as high as you can, and nose to knee. And then coming back. So I'm going to invite you now to tuck your toes, walk your hands back, and just come very gently to the toe squats. This is where you've got the toes tucked, sitting on the heels. If that's not possible, then just raising up into a high kneeling position here and taking a little bit of weight back into the toes. So hat back on, and we are going to begin to come into a lunge. So again, really important to have some padding under your knees here, and we're going to bring 1 foot forward. It doesn't really matter which one you do. We're going to lunge forward gently, making sure you've got nice alignment with knee over the ankle, and then we're going to raise the arms up, looking upwards, having a beautiful back bend here. Now I'm going to invite you to bring same hand as knee onto this knee and lift up the toes of that foot and turn them out, so you can kind of almost push that knee outwards a bit, so you're opening this hip. And with this hand we're going to open up into this beautiful heart opening twist. Then we're going to come back down, bring hands either side of this front foot, and we're going to just be here for a moment in the dragon. And then I'm going to invite, only if you want to, bring both hands inside of this foot like this, and we can come very gently into the lizard. So you don't have to go very far. It might be that you're up on your fingertips, or you might even have a block to help you in this position, or a book if you need it. But if you're there and that feels okay, you can gently bend the elbows, or if you've got flexibility and you feel like you could do it, you could even come down onto your elbows. Beautiful. And then we're going to just very gently transition back through the toe squat for a moment, or up in the high position, and then we're going to step forward with the other foot. So same thing, I'm going to step the toes out to the side, taking this hand against this leg and opening that knee, and then I'm going to take that beautiful open twist here. This is opening the front of the back hip and pushing that knee gently. I have to be careful because I've got a dodgy knee. And then I'm going to come back through, straightening those toes, coming down into the dragon, taking a moment here, then deciding whether the lizard is for you. If it's not, that's fine, or if you're up on a block, that's fine too. And just going to where feels good for you. Beautiful. So from here, I'm going to invite you just to step the foot back, taking the knees wide, and if it's comfortable for you, coming down into the child for a rest. If that's really not okay, you can come forward into the crocodile and rest there, taking a few big sighs out, whichever position you're in. So from here, I'm going to invite you to come around and find yourself in a really comfortable seat, and I'm going to introduce you again to a little bit of a breathing practice. So finding yourself in a comfortable seat that you're going to be comfortable in for a little while, and we're going to work a little bit with the 3-part breath and then Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. So 3-part breath, breathing first into the belly, then up into the main part of the lungs, and then right up to the very top of the lungs. And then exhale, just allowing the breath to come out in its own time. So working with this in your own time, 3-part breath, really filling the lungs right up to the very top, so that all of the areas of the lungs are filled. And then on the exhale, we're going to be doing that Mula Bandha. So as you're exhaling, just really squeezing those muscles, engaging the muscles of the pelvic floor. And then again, as you breathe in, really filling all of the lungs right from the bottom and all the way through. So you can either just stay with that, or if you would like to work with Nadi Shodhana, this is alternate nostril breathing. It's a really beautiful cleansing breath, very safe to do at home to a video. So if you would like to have a go at it, what I do, the way I teach it is that I get my hands in steeple position here. So fingers crossed, I should really take my ring off, fingers crossed, and I've just got my 4 fingers there, and I can just have them either side of my nose so they're not actually touching the nose. So the next time I breathe out through my left nostril, I'm going to close my right, breathe out through the left. Then I'm going to breathe in through the left. Then I'm going to close the left and open the right. Breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right and out through the left. So that's 1 cycle. So breathing in through the left, out through the right, in through the right, and out through the left. So continuing with that, if you're happy with that, continuing with that, otherwise just work with the full yogic breath. If you don't like the hands but you like the idea of that practice, you can put your hands down and just do that practice of the breathing in, out, just in your mind, and it was just as effective. So I'm going to suggest that you turn the video off and practice that for 5 minutes or so, and then put the video back on and come back to join me. Lovely, so hopefully you enjoyed your breathing practice, and we're going to just come and do a couple more things before we come into our relaxation. So we're going to come into the dog, so taking the hands forward, tucking the toes, and we're going to lift up, let go of the head. My hat will almost certainly fall off, and we're going to just let ourselves relax here, keeping a little micro bend in the knees, and then we'll just do a little bit of walking the dog, so 1 heel down, the other knee bent a few times. And then I'm going to invite you to just come into a still place for a moment, still keeping a little micro bend in the knees. And we're going to raise one leg and then bend that leg so it comes out behind you. We're stacking the hips, looking under that armpit. Then we're going to come back through the centre, and we're going to bring nose to knee like we were in the cat. So if this feels too much, you can come down and do it in the cat. We're going to raise that leg up again, and then bringing nose to knee. So if you're happy to do it once more, do it once more, or drop down. And then everybody come down, take a moment to rest. Beautiful. So I'll put my hat back on again. It will fall off again in a minute, but it's all fun, isn't it? So then we're going to, coming back up into the dog, we're just going to do the same thing, but with the other leg. So raising the other leg up and then taking that foot behind, stacking the hips, looking up under the armpit, coming back to the straight position and nose to knee. Taking the leg back up behind. If you've had enough, come down or do it in the cat. One more time. And then we're going to drop the knees down, knees wide, big toes together, dropping down, put the hat back on. Lovely. So I'm going to invite you now to move anything that's on your mat out of the way. And we're going to scoot down into a sphinx. So come to the back of the mat and just take your arms long along the mat so that you've now got your elbows underneath your shoulders. And we're going to take a little look up. This is a little bit of an arch of the back. And then we're going to just look slowly to one side, bringing the chin all the way around and over to the other side. And then we're going to bring the head down onto the mat, bring the hands underneath the shoulders, toes together, big toes together. And we're going to, on an inhale, raising up, leaving your hat behind, into the cobra. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Beautiful. And then final pose. Take the knees and the feet rather out to the side. Forehead onto the hands. Just move the hips from one side to the other. Having a little rest. Lovely, so I'm going to invite you now to roll over onto your back and come, and we will do some counter poses. So finding yourself in a nice comfortable seat, we're just going to do a couple of counter poses. So take one hand out to the side, other arm up, and we're going to come gently into a side bend, looking up under that arm. And then we're just going to go back all the way over the other side and do the same thing this way. Beautiful. So then we're going to take both feet out in front of us, flexing the feet, pulling the toes towards us. Just spend a moment there. And then I'm going to invite you to bend one knee, it doesn't matter which one you do. And you can either leave the foot there or you can cross it over if you can get the whole sole of the foot comfortably on the ground. Taking opposite hand or arm around that knee. And we're going to just do a little twist. Beautiful. And then we'll just do the same thing on the other side. So the other knee comes up, crossing it over if that's comfortable, not if not. And doing a little twist the other way. Lovely. So then we're going to get anything out of the way that's on your mat. And we're going to come down into a little supine twist. So taking the arms out at shoulder height along the ground, just dropping the knees down to one way. If you would like to lift the knees up and take the whole of the hips over as well, then do, but just do what's right for you, looking over the other way. And then we're going to raise up and come back the other way. So make sure you're doing what's right for you. And then we're going to come into our Shavasana. So just arranging your clothes, arranging your hat, bringing your feet about mat width apart, arms down on the ground with the palms facing up, closing the eyes or lowering the gaze, and we just take a moment here to rest. So don't rush, take as long as you like here. Most important pose of the whole practice, I say this almost every time. Don't move just because I do. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed the practice. Namaste.